Public.
Your hour of Thrive Time begins now with your host, TheJayMaymi, on the TheJayMaymi Talk Show.
TheJayMaymi Talk Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the TheJayMaymi Show. I am TheJayMaymi. Boy, I am excited that you've decided to invest an hour of Thrive Time with me today. So thanks for listening. And do I have an incredible show for you today, my friends? I trust that your ears are ready to hear and that your mind is ready to embrace the content that I'm going to be delivering for you today. Today's show is about change. You know, change is something that people often talk about, right? They look at their lives, they look at their situation, and out of a means of frustration, the first thing that comes to mind is, man, I've got to change some things. So today's show is going to be about change and what change requires, what it demands of you. And I know that by the time we're done, you're going to be very excited about implementing some of these ideas, or to be honest with you, having a real hard look at what you have done about change and whatever areas of life you need to change in, whether it's a personal change, a business change, or whatever you feel that right now has to be different. We're going to look at how do you assess whether or not what you are planning on doing or haven't even thought about doing will be critical. But then I'm also excited about our guest. We have a featured guest today that I am so thrilled to bring to you. Keenan Williams is a household name in these parts anyway, simply because of his story and where he's come from and what he used to do and how he had to change the way he thought and his behaviors in order to excel and do the wonderful things that he's doing now, not only in the community, but also as he is working with others and helping them pivot from a place of difficulty and adversity to prospering and to success. And he's got a wonderful story now. Keenan Williams will be with us shortly. He's an author and very well-known speaker, and again, just a great guy. And then we've got our business spotlight today. I'm excited about having our business spotlight, iCryo, because cryo is something that is so popular these days, but yet 90% of most people don't know what cryo is. They don't understand the physiological changes that occurs when you go through cryo and the health benefits. And I'm someone who's new to that world, and I didn't realize all that it entailed. So we're going to take an educational approach towards cryo with Travis, who will be here shortly to speak about that. But guys, I want you to buckle in because today's show is going to be fantastic, and I'm sure that you will find it valuable as we continue to another fantastic episode of the TheJayMaymi Talk Show. Well, if there's one thing that I commonly understand and commonly encounter when I either speaking in front of large groups or small group coaching or doing one-on-one Thrive Time with individuals. And even as I hear often from my readers, they say, hey, Jay, we get it. I get it. I'm frustrated where I'm at right now. I want things to change in my life. I want things to change in my business, in my finances, my relationships, my health, and so on, right? But the question that they always ask is, how do I begin? And by the way, change doesn't necessarily have to happen if you are looking for a personal change. You might be a business owner right now, and you've come to the crossroads where you realize something has to change in your business. Maybe it's not where you would like it to be right now. Maybe it's not where you thought it would be right now or hoped it would be right now. And it's come down to a time when you have to make some changes. You might be an entrepreneur, a soulpreneur, experiencing the same thing, especially during these times. And change for you is a must. It's not an option. It's a must. Well, how do you assess change? I mean, where do you begin? Here's the first thing I want you to understand, folks. We are all in the process of transformation, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, we're all in the process of change. And here's what I mean by that. You're either becoming a better version of you or a worse one. You're either becoming a better version of you or a worse one. You might ask, well, how am I becoming a worse one? If I'm not becoming a better, shouldn't I at least be the same? No. You're becoming worse because if you or your situation is still the same that it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, while everything and everyone else around you has changed, then by your own neglect to adapt or simply keep up, you're worse. Does that make sense? If everything around you has changed and has moved on or has adapted rather, but you're still the same person with the same thoughts and the same habits that you were a few years ago, then you are worse off. There is a worse version of you than there was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Does that make sense to you? So if transformation or if real sincere change, if you're sincere about changing areas in your life or areas in your business, if that is something that you are desiring, and by the way, when I mean desire, I don't mean just lip service. Everybody gives lip service about change, don't they? And I would imagine some of you, and by the way, we're all guilty of that. We all come up at times with situations and ideas that, hey, we need to change. And then all of a sudden that change, that early determination to change kind of gets watered down along the way. And you don't really commit as much as you should commit to changing. So ultimately it becomes lip service, right? Well, understand this. True change, authentic change, has its own set of demands and requirements that are not up for debate. So if you really want to have transformational change, and that is deep change, guys, I'm not talking about changing your pants. I'm talking about transformational change. Then you have to understand and recognize that that type of change has its own set of demands and requirements that are not up for debate. These demands, they're simply not negotiable. You can't negotiate with these demands. So let me share with you 4 demands that change requires. 4 demands that change requires of you if you are serious. And guys, this is one of those moments I share with you. If you're driving, you may want to take mental notes. If you're sitting down listening to this, you want to pen notes, because I believe one of these points is where many of you may be right now or may find yourself one day in the future. But one of those 4 that change demands is a big decision. A big decision. Now, I'm talking about a life-altering decision. I'm not talking about a little decision. See, little decisions don't bring about big change. Big decisions bring about big change. My decision to move here from New York to Dallas a couple of years ago was a big decision. It was a life-altering decision. See, a decision that may go against the grain and possibly even produce ridicule from others, that's the decision I'm talking about. A decision that requires you to be uncomfortable, and it's a hard decision. That's a big decision. That's the kind of decision I'm talking about. By the way, if it does become uncomfortable, if it is hard, if it does produce ridicule, that's how you know you're on the right track. Some that might not be uncommon and unpopular are decisions you'll have to make. There are some decisions that require you to recognize they're not popular and they're not common, but those are the ones you've got to make. That's a big decision. And by the way, what benefit is there to making a small decision? You explain to me, what benefit is there ever in making a small decision when you are looking for big change? I'm going to say that again. What benefit is there to make a small decision when you are looking for a big change? A big decision is a requirement if you're sincere about change. And what's the second? Let me give you the second. Change requires sacrifice. I said earlier, our move to Texas was a major decision, and along with that decision was a major sacrifice, because we moved our family from New York to uncharted territories in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We didn't know anyone out here. We left behind our family. We left behind our business, our roots. That was part of the change that was the sacrifice needed in order to make this change. Not small sacrifices, by the way, but sacrifices that might affect your friendships or unhealthy relationships. Sometimes change requires you to sacrifice those elements as well. And you may have to give some people the gift of goodbye. There are some people you may have to give the gift of goodbye as a means of sacrificing in order to change. You may have to sacrifice a little rest. You may have to sacrifice a routine that you've become accustomed to. You may have to reassess your current habits and sacrifice those habits. Heck, you may have to change the food you eat. You may have to give up some sleep. Yeah, and if you're like me, when I wanted to have a bald look, I sacrificed my hair. Here's the third thing change is going to require: a commitment to invest time and money to accelerate change. Time and learning how to develop the necessary skills in order to yield the greatest possible results in change. Hey, look, you may need to take a course. You may need to sign up for classes. You may need to hire a coach. You may need to find yourself what I call a constructive compass to hold your feet to the fire. But it's going to take a commitment of the investment of time and money and the resources for you to change, and money and the resources required for you to adjust and adapt to whatever is necessary for you to adapt in order to have better results. I believe one of the two of the most precious things on earth that you and I have both have, that we find difficulty parting ways with, is time and money. Well, you'll have to invest your time and your money wisely if you're serious about change. And let me give you the last one. Change will not give you a second look. It won't even look your way until you commit to seeking a new perspective on life. You have to change the way you think. See, you can't want a new you if you still think like the old one. You can't expect a champagne life on beer money. Listen, desiring a new experience while operating in the old program, it won't work. You can't expect a new experience while operating in the old program. That's called delusional. So if you're serious about change, then those 4 demands must be met, if that is what you want in those areas of your life that you are seeking. Hey, when we come back from break, I want to introduce you to someone who's made a decision to change in a place where most people never will: prison. His story is remarkable, and you don't want to miss it. Hey everyone, this is TheJayMaymi from TheJayMaymi Talk Show. I want to encourage you to visit my site, TheJayMaymi.com, for further resources and video and information that can help you thrive in any area of your particular life. If you are interested in becoming more, experiencing more, and thriving more, then can I encourage you to visit my website, TheJayMaymi.com. There you're going to find my books and videos, and I also encourage you to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is @TheJayMaymi, and make sure to visit me at TheJayMaymi.com. My friends, did you know that if you only have state minimum coverage and you total a really nice car, that you may not have enough coverage and you could be sued by the insurance company? That's right, not all coverage is the same. And it's absolutely necessary to work with an insurance agency that has your best interest at heart. That's where Texas Edge Insurance comes in. Not only are they trusted experts, but as an independent agency, they have access to over 30 well-respected companies to get you the right coverage. So if insurance peace of mind is what you seek, call Texas Edge Insurance at 817-406-2929 or visit them at TexasEdgeAgency.com.
Support your local businesses by going to growmytexasbusiness.com. Here you'll find businesses by category with instant links to their websites so you can find locations, phone numbers, and hours of operation. Supporting these local businesses as they reopen is critical to our Dallas-Fort Worth economy. If you own a business and you're not on this list, you can register your business immediately at growmytexasbusiness.com so your business isn't left out. Let's get business going again. Go to growmytexasbusiness.com.
Patrick Kerwin. Patrick discusses how to retire at home by eliminating your mortgage, reducing monthly expenses, building your retirement account, remodeling your home, and much more. Contact Patrick at 214-415-3773 to schedule a meeting or visit rmfdallas.com. That's rmfdallas.com. Listen to Patrick every Sunday at 1 p.m. for the Reverse Mortgage Show at MLS number 1867337.
Welcome back to Thrive Time with TheJayMaymi.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm excited to introduce to you someone that I've gotten to know well since my move to Dallas, and it's almost impossible not to know this next gentleman if you are in the Dallas area and soon anywhere around the country, to be quite frank with you. But I've had a chance to get to know Keenan Williams better over the last 2 years, and I'm going to share with you that I am so impressed with his story that it needed to be told, and I wanted him to be our featured guest today. Keenan Williams is not only a global speaker. He speaks on inspiration and motivation, but he speaks about change and the changes that you've got to go through, and that's the theme of the show. He's also a uber entrepreneur, multiple businesses that he has opened. He's a founder of a new company called Spray Experts, which he'll share about that in a minute. He's the author of the book, The Breakthrough, and you cannot spend any time on social media today without seeing his face somewhere plastered on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or somewhere down there. Somewhere on social media, you'll find Keenan Williams because the story is so inspiring. I said earlier that he comes from a very difficult place, but he was able to change the way he thought, change his habits in order to become the person he is today. And he spent time in prison, which he's going to share his story. And that is probably the most difficult place for a person to recognize that change needs to occur. So without further delay, everyone, I want to introduce you, Keenan Williams. Keenan, how you feeling today?
Man, I'm doing great, brother.
All right. Well, I appreciate you
trying
being
to wake
here.
up being it is so early.
Well, I appreciate you being here, giving us an opportunity to get to know you better. Why don't you share with my listeners, Keenan, a little bit about you, your background, your history, and get us up to speed on that.
Okay. Just a little bit of my background. I grew up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I grew up in a part of town that your parents probably told you not to go to. They said, don't go to that side of the tracks. That's where I grew up.
Right. You built the tracks.
Right. And, so growing up in a crisis environment, parents being married with a toxic relationship. Toxic parents means a toxic household, means kids who become very toxic, and anger and frustration. But I found football as a avenue to exert my anger, my frustrations, and my pain. But my senior year in high school, that ended. Preseason blue chipper, high school football star, looking at opportunities to play in the league one day, which, when you're from the hood, there's two ways out of the hood: entertainment or sports. Then, because we were not taught anything else. And so football ended. And when that ended, that shattered my dream. And so a young man or young woman that has no dream will soon perish. And so I joined the gang my senior year in high school. I quit high school with 2 weeks left. Joined the gang. And so from 1986 to 1993, I sold drugs. I got hooked on drugs for 7 years, crack cocaine. I was homeless for 4 years, sleeping in vacant houses, no lights, no gas, no water, no friends, no family. Between 86 and 93 also, I was shot 6 times, and I was in and out of jail over 45 times. And then 1993, I was sentenced to 6 years in prison. So that 6 years in prison put me in a situation to where I had to reflect on who I was, where I was going, and then decide if that was the path that I wanted to take. The first 4 years were very different, very hard, because I was still living that life. The drugs, I was still fighting. I was still angry. And then after the 4 years, I gave my life to God, to Jesus Christ, and he began to put me on a path that taught me that, Romans 12:2 says, be not conformed, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you can prove what is the good and acceptable will of God. And I understood that I was a new creature and that old things were passed away and all things became new. So my new identity was not per se in the color of my skin or where I was from or who my parents were, but my new identity became in God. And so my past was erased in my mind. I learned how to think different so that I can live different. The last 2 years in prison, I read 248 books. I learned how to walk, talk, think differently. I began to operate in something I call the law of subtraction. Because people always talk about the law of attraction. I believe there has to be a law of subtraction before the attraction. Law of subtraction, I began to subtract wrong relationships, wrong conversations, wrong television stations, wrong books, wrong people. And then once I did the subtraction, that gave room for addition and multiplication of good attraction. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And, I started operating in the law of honor in prison. I started honoring my, the guys that were there. I started honoring the guards. I started honoring the warden. I wanted to get back in school, so I wrote the warden over 150 letters to let me back in. And they wouldn't let me back in school because I was a gang member. And so one day I saw him walking, and I approached him. I started going around guys. I was very persistent about doing something different with my life. So I started breaking some rules to go around people. And I got up close to him and I yelled his name, and he turns around and he says, Williams, I know who you are. if you stop writing me letters, I'll let you in school. I said, yes, sir. That's all I wanted. So there's some times when there is no door. When there is no door, excellence will demand one. Persistence and consistency of character is what creates the opportunity for that success. And so prison became my ground of preparation. Every day is a ground of preparation. I believe that when preparation meets opportunity, it's the formula for success. In America, the greatest place on earth, we will not fail because of a lack of opportunity. We will only fail when opportunity presents itself and we're unprepared. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So my life changed in prison. In prison in 1996, I started having new dreams and new visions. And I would tell people that one day I was going to go from the prison to the palace being the White House, and which I've been there several times. And so they're not laughing about that anymore. All things are possible if we make the decision to accept the crisis situation that we're in, embrace the change that is needed to be successful in that. Crisis produces some of the greatest leaders that the world has ever seen. Most people run from a crisis. They run in the house. A crisis is there. If you look at the word crisis in Japanese and Chinese, they added a character. It's not only disaster, but it also says opportunity. And we have to start looking at a crisis like that. You know, we're in a crisis situation right now. This is where leadership, new leaders are going to be born, be risen, start developing, because they will rise up with solutions and not just complaining and talking about the problems.
Now, I agree. And I think that one of the things that change requires is immediate action. So when you...
Within self first.
Right, within yourself first.
Self-accountability. Right. It starts with self. I can't expect change outwardly if I have not changed inwardly.
Well, it's funny you say that, because in the last segment I was talking about, you cannot have a new perspective or a new experience operating the old program, right? You
it doesn't work that way.
No, it don't work.
It doesn't work that way. Let me tell you, I tell people, if the past, I very seldom talk about the past. I'll only talk about the past if I want to share with people who don't realize the process of what I had to go through to get to where I'm at now. Because they'll look and think that, oh, this guy's, he's got this or he's doing that and his life is just so. It was hard work. It was not easy. Freedom is not free.
That's right.
It cost to be free. I decided that in my life, I wanted to change the generational wealth of my family. Because, the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, I wrote a new proverb. I said the lack of money is as well, right? So that's my proverb. The lack of money is the root of all evil as well. That's why you see, the places of poverty has the greatest crime. They're unwilling to change.
Correct.
Change is imperative. Change is necessary. Change is the only thing that we cannot stop. We can't stop change and we can't stop time. So we have to learn how to adapt in both of those arenas and then overcome in both of those arenas. And God will never give you a plan without a strategy. Mm-hmm. He'll never give you a plan without a strategy. We can never be put into a situation without a way out of that situation. But we have to decide, what am I going to do with me before I start deciding what I'm going to do with other people?
Now, when you left prison, here's what change demanded of you. It demanded immediate action, right? Because you could have read all the books, change the way you thought in prison, but unless you implemented an immediate action plan, you might have found yourself back where you were before.
It was very easy to.
Well, I'm sure.
It was easy to, because everything that you leave, you come right back to.
Exactly.
Everything you leave, you come right back to. And so, when I got out the very next day, when I got out of prison, I already had a plan in place. I had already mapped out 10 places around my mother's house that had companies, air conditioning companies, that I was going to go to. If you're not planning to succeed, you're planning to fail. Most of us won't wake up in the morning and plan our day. And because when you don't plan your day is planned by someone else.
Exactly.
So I planned my day the next day. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I did 500 push-ups. I drank some coffee, and I was at my first place by 5:30. I woke up at 4:30, I'm sorry, because that was my plan. And, I remember my mother saying, hey, it's 4:30 in the morning. What are you doing up so early? I said, I'm going to go get a job. You just got out of prison. I know. I've been waiting 6 years for this opportunity. Okay, well, I'll take you. I don't need you to take me. I ran 5 miles every other day, and I worked out every day preparing for this moment. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 45 minutes to chop down a tree, I spend the first 30 minutes sharpening my axe. Sometimes we see an opportunity and we run into it too fast. Prepare so when we get that moment, we know how to seize that moment, because it may not ever come back again. It could take 20 years for that moment again. So that next day, I got a job. First place I went to, I got a job. First place. Hey, just got out of prison. There's no one that you have that can outwork me. No one that's smarter than me, has more integrity than me, and is more loyal than I will be. I put a demand on him that he needed me. He realized, here's the thing, Jay, if I don't believe in me, I can't expect for you to believe in me.
That's right.
It starts with, what do you believe? Because, the Bible says, so as a man thinketh, so is he. You don't have to tell me who you are. I just watch the way you act, and it will show me who you are. So my heroes had changed at this point. Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Shuttlesworth, Lemuel Haynes, Sir Lemuel Haynes, Wentworth Cheswell, Wentworth Cheswell, 1768 is the first black judge elected in the United States of America. People are clueless. These are things that encourage me to say, you know what? If Frederick Douglass, a man who didn't even know his mother and father, who didn't even have a birth certificate, he says his birthday was on February the 14th because he remembered as a child before he was sold, his mother saying, here is my little Valentine.
Oh, look at that.
If you could take a man who had no history of himself or his family, gets freed from slavery because of the persistence in his heart, and 5 years later, he is counseling the president of the United States of America. If he can do it, why can't I? So I read things. I want to be surrounded with people who have that type of consistency and that type of character. God does not promote according to your gift or your talent. He promotes according to your character.
Mm-hmm.
Your gift and your talent can get you one place, but it's your character that will keep you there.
That's right.
So these guys taught me character. They still teach me character. I still study. I still read books. I still have the same formulas. Not perfect. I still make mistakes. But it's impossible to become successful without a failure.
That's exactly right.
It's impossible.
How else do you
I'm
learn?
not afraid to fail. I want to fail as many times as I possibly can, because it tells me how demanding that my vision is in my life, my passion, my purpose, my significance, who I am and why I'm here. Who are you and why are you here? The two greatest questions. I've answered those questions. That's what makes Keenan Williams, Keenan Williams.
Well, on that note, who are you? Why are you here? Your purpose. We're going to pick up after the break, and we're going to talk about, Keenan, what's your purpose? Why are you here? What's your mission that you can share with people? Because I know you've got a whole lot of future that you are planning on. We'll be right back, folks. If you're a business owner who's concerned about staying compliant with HR regulatory laws and protecting your biggest asset, then you need EM2HR Alliance. EM2HR Alliance not only is passionate about helping you protect your business, but provides sound HR advice to improve employee relations and minimize risk. With an easy-to-use employment database platform and flat rates based on a tier, there's no reason not to call them. If keeping your business safe and compliant is what you seek, then call them at 321-247-8492. You can also visit their website at em2hr.com for HR peace of mind.
If boosting your immunity, decreasing inflammation and pain, or improving your sleep could bring you a better quality of life and well-being, then you need to experience whole-body cryotherapy with the industry experts at iCryo. This non-invasive therapy by the knowledgeable staff at iCryo offers many benefits to help you feel great and get back to thriving. Find out more at iCryo.com and mention The JayMaymi Show for a special offer. iCryo, 6363 Dallas Parkway in Frisco, and at iCryo.com.
The following takes place at Milestone Air Conditioning.
So, you're saying I'm being replaced in the ads?
No, we want to keep you in the Milestone ads.
Okay, then what is she doing here?
Mark, this is Madison with Quality Control. We've asked her to join you in the ads.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, Madison.
See? This is already great.
But why do we need another person?
We just feel it would provide a little more balance.
Actually, it's your look.
My look?
Wow.
Our research indicates that large, bald men are intimidating.
I'm too large?
No, robust.
I'm intimidating?
Well, not your voice.
True. He sounds like, if a pigeon could talk.
I'm a fat, bald pigeon?
It's endearing. Exactly. Okay, let's take 5, and then you two can tell everyone about Milestone's second-to-none air conditioning services. Okay?
Great.
Great.
Got an AC problem? Get Milestone.
Online at callmilestone.com.
Welcome back to Thrive Time with JayMaymi.
You're listening to the TheJayMaymi Talk Show, and I am TheJayMaymi. And in studio here, we are listening to the fabulous Keenan Williams. Boy, that was an excellent segment we just wrapped up, and now I'm excited about the next segment here. So, Keenan, you've got a lot of things right now you're involved in. Your plate is full. Every time you and I have a conversation, you're on to doing something. I want you to share with our listeners what it is exactly that you're passionate about now. You're involved in so many different improvement projects and life-changing projects as well. What are you passionate about today that you're doing that you can share?
You know what? My passion is to make a difference. And in order for me to make a difference in this world, I have to take everything that I went through that was bad and use it to influence in a way that is good. So all those that I dealt with when I was on the wrong side are those that I am now dealing with on the right side. And the beauty of it is this, because we are in America, the greatest place on earth. You're not limited to how far you can go in this country. It doesn't matter about who your parents were or the color of your skin or your age or your size. When you are determined to make a difference, you have the opportunity to make that difference. You know, my best friend, one of my best friends, is a police officer, a detective who sent me to prison. He and I speak together. He's in my book. We share things together, you know, secret places. I now train police officers. Being arrested 45 times and 6 years in prison, now I train police officers when they're coming through the academy. I speak to wardens, parole officers. I just did a conference in Galveston last year where one of my wardens at one of the prisons I was in was actually there and had an opportunity to hear me speak and come up and gave me a hug, and he's in tears. Mm. Those are moments that I could never replace. Those are God moments for me. So my passion, again, is to show the world what God can do, coupled with education, because I believe that when attitude coupled with aptitude, that creates the altitude that you dream about. Attitude plus aptitude creates the altitude of your dream. You know, I also do some things now that, you know, I'm a businessman. You know, I have Waterford Counseling. Waterford Counseling is my counseling facility where I deal with PTSD, drugs, alcohol, any type of addiction. It's called Waterford Counseling. My office is in Frisco. I have 2 partners on that. It's a drug treatment center, and we're getting ready to expand and build 2 more, one in Mesquite and another one in here in Dallas County, because we're in Frisco County. But probably my greatest passion and opportunity that God has created for me is I now work for the president. So I am the strategic initiative director for President Donald Trump. So when I look and I say to myself every day, I now work for the president of the United States of America, the biggest campaign in the world, the biggest office in the world. That blows me away. I remember in 1996 when I told everyone that I was going to the palace, the White House. They all laughed at me. They're not laughing anymore because now I'm there. I'm there and I'm in politics because I realize that in the political arena is where you can make the greater changes. It's a bigger platform. It's where laws, legislative pieces are put together that determine what happens in society that we live in. So doors just started opening. I got in politics. I'm a Republican. You know, I'm a conservative. I'm a black conservative. And, you know, once my eyes were open, Abraham Lincoln being a conservative, and I realized Rosa Parks and all of the blacks, you know, prior to the 1900s, before Woodrow Wilson, they were all Republicans. Over 1,500 blacks had served in office by the late 1800s, and every single one were Republicans. When I learned that the Ku Klux Klan came out of the Democratic Party, now I have friends that are in the Democratic Party. I have friends that are liberals. I have friends that are independent. I don't judge you because of the party that you serve. I look at your character. I'm a black conservative, and I'm very proud to be a black conservative. I'm very honored to work for the President of the United States of America and be the strategic initiative. You know, I just got promoted to that. I was a regional director here in Texas and got promoted to that. So now I just travel and speak and build those relationships. So, you know, going from prison to now working for the President of the United States, I've learned a few things. I can share a few things with people to help them catapult themselves into a new season of life. Change is the inevitable. My question to people is, how are you going to be in that change? Or are you going to be a part of that change? Because when the change is taking place, we can actually partake in the change. You know, people now are looking for the new norm. We can set the new norm.
Exactly.
You know, I can't control my past. I can't control history. History is done. But I've decided to write my future. I'm writing my future right now. I'm not guessing what my future is. I'm not hoping what my future is. I am writing my future every single day with the choices and decisions that I make. And we all have that opportunity. So if you can take a man from prison and drugs and homeless, being shot 6 times and in and out of jail over 45 times, and this same man is now working on the biggest campaign in the world, I'm sorry, but there's nothing impossible in America.
That's exactly right.
There's nothing impossible. There's nothing to hold you back. You know, I've just partnered with another company, and it's called Spray Experts, and we have actually got a chemical where we can kill the coronavirus for 28 days on all hard surfaces. So we go in and spray. It's not abrasive. It doesn't hurt paperwork. So you don't have to take papers off your desk in these offices. It doesn't hurt material. It doesn't hurt you. Every ingredient that we have in there is all EPA certified. It's biodegradable. There's no stickiness. It dries within 10 minutes. And there's no residue to where you can even see that it was ever sprayed on there. And it kills the virus, the persistency of the virus for up to 28 days. And so that right there, I'm really looking forward to that because, you know, one of my things is that I believe in solving problems. I believe that the bigger problem you solve, the more money you make in this world. My goal is to write $1 million tire check. I can't do that if I don't make enough money.
That's right.
Right? So I'm not looking to necessarily increase my bank account. I'm looking to increase my tithe. I'm looking to increase my ability to help more people. I want to buy people houses and cars. I want to provide jobs for people in small businesses for people that are used to making $10 an hour. I want you to come over and work for me and make $25 an hour.
Well, it's interesting because that's exactly what we were talking about on the break, right? The more you live, the more you can give.
It's all about that.
You can't give if you're not living enough.
You can't be a blessing if you're not blessed.
That's exactly right.
Praying for people is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
If I really want to change your life, I'm going to pray for you and give you some money.
Right.
Because those two things will change your life.
Right.
It's not just about money. But again, the lack of money is the root of all evil as well. And so I want to be prosperous so that I can be the biggest giver that's ever been in my family. I want to help as many people as I can. I want to create jobs. I don't want to just give people money. I want to teach them how to make it. I want to teach them how to become entrepreneurs, how to put plans, pro formas, projectives in place, because I've learned these things. And so now it's time for me to give back.
You know, it's interesting as I'm hearing you and listening to all of the things that you are involved in, every single thing that you're involved in, Keenan, is in alignment with the new identity that you created for yourself, right? So,
and no one gave it to me.
Right. You had to
They didn't give it to me. They didn't even show me that I could have it.
Right. You had to make a decision at that point when you made a decision that you had to change. One of the things was your identity. As a result of changing your identity, look at all the things you're attracting into your life right now.
Because my identity was right. I had to change that.
Right.
Because before I had the wrong identity and it was attracting the wrong things.
That's exactly my point. You're attracting the right things now because you got the right identity.
Doors open that I could never fathom. My life is not perfect, but I have a pretty good life. I wake up when I finish sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you call me at 8 o'clock and I won't answer the phone. Right?
I got to call you at the crack of noon. That's it. Go. Keenan Williams, well, let's make it 12 o'clock.
Like, Jay, it's 9:30. I'm not up, brother.
I'm going to get the voice.
But here's the thing. But when I'm up, it's going down like a Disney movie, right?
That's it.
Because when most people are sleeping at night, guess what? I'm working.
Yeah.
So the next morning when they wake up, they have my schedule. I control my schedule. Because when they wake up and see what slots I have open for them, I plug them into where I want them to be. See, I can't allow other people to control my life. I have to control my own life. We control our own destiny by our decisions and our choices.
Exactly.
Okay? And the people that we decide to surround ourselves with. I've been blessed. My friends are congressmen, senators. My friends are janitors. My friends are landscapers. My friends are police officers. My friends are mayors and judges.
And a radio talk show host, too.
Radio talk show host, you know. So, again, this is America. Mm-hmm. And I celebrate that. I celebrate the freedom and the opportunity that has for me. And, Jay, listen, I'm real big on this. People say African American all the time. And I hate that. Because when someone calls me an African American, you're taking away from my Americanism. I don't know anything about Africa. I've never been there. I don't know any streets, don't know the language, don't know them, and they don't know me. I'm an American. Don't call me an African American. I am an American, and I am proud to be an American. America is being squeezed right now. Being squeezed is not always a bad thing because sometimes you don't know what's in you until it's squeezed out of you.
That's true.
And when it comes out, you can deal with it. So squeezing is not a bad thing. A little pressure on us sometimes allows us to see what's been hiding in our life. America has made bad decisions, great decisions, good decisions. But we can't change what happened then. We can only deal with what we need to happen now. So I can't hold your great-great-grandfather accountable for the wrong decisions he made. I can't even hold my parents accountable. I had to forgive my parents. My parents had horrible parenting skills. But I forgave them, and I held myself accountable one day. I said, you know what? It's not my fault that I'm in prison. It's not my fault that I got caught up on crack cocaine. It's not my fault I couldn't play professional football like I dreamt of. It's not my fault. It's really my parents' fault. But guess what? I forgive them, and now it's my problem, and I have to solve it. Accountability starts with self. Accountability starts with not pointing the finger at everyone else. Learn your history. Learn who you are. Decide what you're going to be in life. And it doesn't matter if there is no door because excellence will demand one.
Excellent.
When your self-worth is where it's supposed to be, Jay, if I walk into a place and there is no contract, you're going to create one for me.
Well, guys, I'm so excited to have you here from Keenan Williams. Keenan can be found at KeenanWilliamsInspires.com, and make sure that you also have a chance to pick up his book, The Breakthrough. Keenan, we appreciate having you on the show, brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
We'll be back
Jay.
after the break. Are you ready to buy a home but have been turned down from another lender or just don't know where to begin? Don't give up on your dream. Your local Texas team at Angel Oak Home Loans may have the perfect solution for you. They offer traditional loans and a portfolio suite of products to help customers with financing needs. Contact your Angel Oak Home Loans Texas team today. Visit DonnieWalton.com or call them 214-280-5716. Not a commitment to lend. All loans are subject to credit approval. NMLS 685842, Equal Housing Lender.
TheJayMaymi writes in his latest bestseller, Battling Invisible Enemies, Facing Your Inner Struggles Head-On, that your potential to thrive will always be hindered if you're battling invisible enemies of worry, fear, doubt, and discouragement that only stagger and stunt your focus, your energy, your creativity, and your joy. Go to TheJayMaymi.com for a copy of the book that many are calling a masterpiece. Battling Invisible Enemies, Facing Your Inner Struggles Head-On at TheJayMaymi.com. That's TheJayMaymi.com.
Right now, this pandemic has caused so many hardships, the government has extended the IRS filing deadline. You can't ignore your tax debt forever. Perfect Tax Relief can help. Call 855-930-4660. Make no mistakes. If you owe back taxes, the IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your wages, even take your property. Many people are facing hardships, and right now is the best time to negotiate your debt. Call 855-930-4660 and let their team of tax resolution specialists work on your behalf to immediately stop the threatening letters, embarrassing phone calls, and negotiate a permanent settlement that works for you. Perfect Tax Relief has been helping taxpayers for over a decade and is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Let Perfect Tax Relief help you like they've helped thousands of others in your situation. Call now, 855-930-4660. Don't go it alone. Call now for a free consultation, 855-930-4660. That's 855-930-4660.
Welcome back to Thrive Time with TheJayMaymi.
So we are back here, and I am excited about our business spotlight guest here in the studio today. I've been a big fan of iCryo, even though I'm new to the iCryo world and the way that the iCryo works and helps people. But I know that there is so much more to it than most people understand. So, and really looking at which business could bring the most valuable to our show today, especially the theme being change. I thought, what a great way to have people be introduced to what I believe is one of the futuristic and more popular, or becoming more popular ways to have your body change, right? So in studio today, I'm excited to introduce you Travis Ayla, who is not only an expansion director, but he's also a franchisee of one of the fastest growing iCryo in the DFW area. I'm excited about him and his big vision of opening up 17 locations in DFW. So with a guy who's got that big a vision, he needs to be heard, and that's why we're on the show. So Travis, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you having me on.
Travis, tell us a little bit about you and where you come from, and let our listeners get a chance to know who Travis Ayla is long before we talk about iCryo.
Sure. Luckily for me, I'm a Texas boy, born and raised. I've lived all throughout the country, but it definitely started, I was born in Beaumont, Texas, lived all over the coast, or around Galveston, fishing, hunting, doing all that good stuff. Once school came around and ended, I found myself wanting something a little bit different, wanting to kind of sharpen the edges, so I joined the Marine Corps. That took me, obviously, all over the place. Once I was done with the Marine Corps, I found myself on the East Coast, up in Maryland, Virginia area. I was running some restaurants, bartending, doing the typical thing you do when you're around that age frame, and wasn't doing it for me. So found myself going back into a little more structured environment, something I could do to serve people, and that took me to law enforcement. So I was a cop for just under 10 years, spent most of that time doing undercover work, SWAT, hostage rescue kind of things. A lot of time spent in D.C., Baltimore, that entire area over there. Was fortunate enough to do what I wanted to do in that field, check all the boxes, also come out alive. So
that's important, right?
Yeah. Found myself trying to figure out what's next. I'm not a sit still, write tickets kind of officer. So what I was doing is also a young man's game. And your first bad day at work's your last day. So started looking for something else, wanted to get back home to Texas. So wrapped up shop there and came back home. When I did that, I tried to take a little bit of a breather, get away from the idea of going back into law enforcement. Did some sales jobs here and there, fitness industry, outside sales, construction. And that led me into my first business, which was Aria's Attic, which is a energy efficiency business in HVAC and things like that, which did very well. Found myself able to kind of help homeowners not get taken, to the cleaners, trying to stay cool in Dallas, which is not easy, right? Mm-hmm. But it just wasn't scratching the itch as far as service goes. Mm-hmm. I find myself really wanting to help people, be around people, connecting, and you can only do so much when you're talking about heating and air conditioning, right?
Right.
A buddy of mine, Kyle Jones, is actually the founder of iCryo. I watched his whole journey from one location to two to opening up the franchise, and just was studying it all throughout. Health and wellness has always been a passion of mine. Kyle's really good people. I like to follow good people, his family, everybody that he puts around him. And I just kept being drawn to this space. So spent more and more time around it. One business helped me get to another, and found myself jumping into iCryo.
Awesome.
And one thing about me, whether it's the military and going to the Marine Corps, or police work and going SWAT, or, no matter what it is, it's all in, right? So Go big or go home.
That's right.
So I had the opportunity to get one location. Dallas is obviously a hot market for anything right now. And found out that I could actually structure a deal to put myself as a, what they call kind of a area developer, like you say, expansion director there, and grab the entire region, which is 17 locations across Dallas and Fort Worth. So that's what brings me here. Can't say how excited I am, because it's kind of unfathomable to even be at this position. Mm-hmm. But it's an exciting ride for sure.
Well, change do that to you, right? Change will take you someplace you never thought you would be.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so great about it, right? You leave yourself wide open for the possibilities of what can happen, and they end up happening.
Yeah, no, I've been fortunate throughout my life, and it's because I've embraced what you're saying, change. I've always been open-minded, and change always. You're never you never stay the same, right? So you either get better or get worse. And if you allow the change to kind of get in there, you can definitely step it up.
Now, one of the things I want to say is I appreciate your service, right? How long did you serve for?
Just under 4 years.
Okay. My son is actually serving right now. He's in Camp Lejeune.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's interesting. You were, what camp?
So I was MCRD in San Diego.
Okay,
yeah,
San Diego.
I had a medical discharge about 3.5 years.
Well, I appreciate your service, brother.
Yeah, no, thanks.
One of the things you mentioned that really plays well into the first segment of the show when I talked about what changed demands big decisions.
That it does.
Big decisions, right? And you didn't decide to take iCryo with one location. You made a big decision, said, DFW is huge. I'm going for the full 17.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? Big decision.
Yep. So, I mean, one is not necessarily easy, right? But I found that if you want to get anywhere in life and you really want to kind of push your limits, you've got to put yourself in adversity. 17 is adversity. One is follow the playbook, right? So.
Well, one of the things that I know for a fact, Travis, is that most people are not yet familiar with the science of cryogenics, right? They're not familiar with it. They don't understand it. Very few people really can appreciate the health benefits of it. So if you could take a few minutes and educate us, teach us, educate us what it actually entails to go through a cryogenic experience and what the end results are.
Yeah. So I try to keep it somewhat simple, right? But long story short, we all know our body can heal a lot of things in different ways if we just allow it. Problem is our lifestyles, our diet, and everything in between kind of gets in the way. With cryotherapy, what we're doing is you're using sub-zero temperatures to reduce pain and inflammation, right? It is that simple. How it happens is not, right? And there's a lot of other benefits that come from it, from skin conditions and hormone levels and all that good stuff. But the central nervous system is an amazing thing. When we throw you into negative 200 degrees and you're only in there for max 3 minutes. Okay. So it's not a long time. And you don't even, people ask if it's miserable or if it's, unbearable. It's really not, because your mind has no frame of reference, right? So the first minute and a half, you're just trying to figure out what's going on, and you're already halfway through the session, right? But while you're doing that, we're kind of tricking your central nervous system in your body into thinking you're going to hypothermia, right? When he does that, it's rushing all your blood, right to your core, right? We're infusing everything with nutrients and raising hormone levels, and your body's preparing to defend itself and keep yourself alive, right? Once you hop out of that session, though, in less than 3 minutes, your body realizes, okay, well, I'm not dying. Okay. So now you have this oxygenated, super rich blood being delivered right back to your extremities. And just kind of like when you take an aspirin, for example, your body knows where to send the pain inhibitors. You're not telling it, you're not directing it, right? You just take this pill and your body takes care of it. Same with this nutrient, oxygen rich blood. Your body knows where your pain and inflammation is. It knows what's being, that knee injury that you've got. Certain areas of the body get treated with priority all the time. So it's really kind of allowing your body to reset and focus on itself. And it's a lifestyle deal, right? So obviously one session isn't going to fix everything. But just like stretching, right? If you start stretching over time, you get a lot more limber, for example, less injuries, tears, sprains, things like that. Okay. Same with cryotherapy. You allow your body to reset and reduce that pain and inflammation a couple times a week. You start having less pain, right? The back pain starts going away. You start having less tightening in different joints and neck injuries and things of that nature. Now, and that's just one service that we offer, right? Okay. But that would be the nuts and bolts explanation, I'd say. Yeah.
My wife has been a big fan of your location ever since she joined up about a month ago.
Yeah, she was one of the first ones through the door.
Yeah, and she's been going religiously.
Yeah, I think she's still one of the first ones through the door every day.
She dreams about the iCryo, right? But I tell you what, it's done such a great work for her and her inflammation, and her neck pains, and all the things that she's challenged with every now and then. Mm-hmm. That's why she goes as often as she can. What kind of person would you say is someone that is a good candidate to have cryo?
Sure. Any living person.
Okay.
I mean, that's the great thing about this space and this industry specific is there's not a person that can't benefit from our services.
Okay.
Even if, let's say, for example, due to medical history or whatnot, we can't put you in a whole body session. We can do spot treatment, right?
Okay.
We've got IV infusions, compression therapy. Like we have something for everybody in an ailment. If you have pain and inflammation, we've got something for you. And everybody's walking around with pain and inflammation to a degree, whether it's a skin condition, joints, muscle aches, there's somebody with pain and inflammation.
Yeah, one of the things I've heard from people who have gone through iCryo is that it gives them a chance to have pain relief, like you said, without having to go to prescriptions.
Right.
And I'd rather go through a homeopathic, natural way of relieving some of my pain than pop a pill.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the best things I see on a daily basis is one of our biggest referral clients are doctors.
Look at that.
They're sending, my doctor said I need to jump on that compression therapy, or I need to try cryo for my back pain. It's absolutely a great way to manage your lifestyle so that other things that you're doing can be maximized, right?
Wonderful. Travis, where could people find your location?
We're in Frisco, so we're going to be 6363 Dallas Parkway. It's going to be the intersection of the Dallas North Toll Road and Stonebrook. Starwood Village is the name of the shopping center. Pretty easy and accessible on your daily travel. So,
is there a website that people can visit?
Yes. So the website's going to be iCryo.com. So ICRYO.com.
Okay. Now, you're probably going to have a few thousand listeners to this show. So what could you offer the listeners as a way to sort of incentivize them to come and visit your location?
Yeah. I know it's a new thing. And so any way to get people just to try it is great. Anybody that stops in and mentions that, I heard you on the TheJayMaymi talk show, I'll go ahead and take care of an elevated service for them. So I'll give them the choice because I like people to have options. I don't want to put them in one spot. So that would be whole body cryotherapy, infrared sauna, or compression therapy.
Excellent.
But yeah, the first session will be on us.
Travis, we appreciate having you on the show today. And guys, that wraps up our show. We're looking forward to having you come back next week to the TheJayMaymi Talk Show. Have a great week, everyone.